Okay. Well, you're like, who is this chatty person? My name is Jennifer Weston, and I'm the executive director of, it's a long name, Permian Basin Regional Council on Alcohol and Drug Abuse. And this is Reyes. She also works with me. And so I'm going to teach you, you would think I'm teaching you about drugs and alcohol. I'm really not. I'm going to talk to you about how you cope with things when things go wrong. So how many of you have had something happen in your life that has not been the happiest thing? Yeah, it happens. It happens to everybody. So, so we all need those coping skills to figure out, like, how do we deal when things happen like this? Like when our emotions get big, and we get stressed out, and when we get angry or when we get sad. So, so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So we're going to talk about what is stress. We're going to talk about what stress does to your body. We're going to talk about what's called self-medication and coping, and then we'll talk about the healthy ways of coping. So this is going to... I may have just, but we're gonna watch this video, and it looks a little like it's really just teaching you how to relax. And so we want to focus on it, kind of showing us how we can relax when we're like really stressed out. So last night I was kind of stressed out, and I had to remind myself that all I have to do is breathe and just kind of calm down. But sometimes we can use these, and what it does, what this video is going to do in a minute, is it helps you to reconnect and just kind of get out of your mind as much, and makes it so you feel more like you're in your body, and just kind of that you can feel things that are going on around you, which helps you to cope and not be so much in your head. Who gets in your head a lot? I'm an overthinker. Yeah. All right.
To begin this mindfulness meditation, just let yourself get into a comfortable position, whatever that looks like for you. When your body feels ready, you may gently close your eyes. With your eyes closed, take a moment to tune inwards. First, simply noticing your body, tuning into the weight of gravity, the points of contact between you and the surface on which you are resting. What else do you notice? What is it like for you to be in your body right now? As you observe this, you simply accept and allow whatever it is you notice, harboring no judgment. Just be mindful.
Okay, I'm not going to make y'all go through 5 minutes of that, but what it's showing us, and this is meditation. We don't have to use that word. Like, really what it's talking about is just centering yourself. So sometimes you can do this by, don't do it in public because you'll look weird, but you can do this, and you just tap on your shoulders, and it helps to bring yourself back to like just noticing where you are. So you can use that when you get really angry. You can use it when you get really sad. Don't use it when you're happy, because happy is fun. But it really teaches you how to just to not get so in your emotions. So if we did that experiment, I would have asked you, like, what emotions and feelings did you experience? Really what it does is it just calms you down. It just brings you back to kind of that normal state where you're not angry. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and it might be this, but no. Sorry, y'all. Somebody else think of a what would you rather question. But so I know that like, you know, that's very kind of quiet, and like sometimes those voices will make you either laugh, or they're like, thank you, or they're a little bit like they're a little out there, but it really is just, just breathing and calming down. So what is stress? Does anybody have an answer for me? Yes. You don't know? Well, that's okay. Does anybody have an idea? I'm going to have you read something. Do you like to read? Sure. No? You don't want to read? Okay. All right, so what is stress? Race wants to read it. What is stress?
Stress is a set of emotional, physical, and cognitive thought reactions to a changing, demanding environment.
Okay, so what kind of things are stressful? Is it stressful when you wake up late and your mom or dad or your guardian is sitting there saying, like, get up, you got to get to school? Is that stressful? Yeah. What about when you have a big test at school and you haven't studied?
Yes.
What about you? Yeah, missing assignments, that is stressful. And then you have the ones that you have due that are just due, and then you have to get the ones in the back, yeah. Sometimes I used to stress out just wondering if everything I turned in was right, so. Yeah, so there's lots of things that can stress you out. I think sometimes adults will be like, oh, they're kids, they don't have anything to stress about, but are they right? Nah, you got a lot to stress out about too, so. There's a lot of things, just demands and things where, you've got a lot of pressure with school or sports. Does anybody play sports in here? Yeah, it can be stressful. So there's different types of stress. There is negative stress that we know about. Did you all know there was positive stress? Yeah, so positive stress are things like you move to a new house that's really cool and, you have your own bedroom. It's still stressful because it's going to change the way that you do things. Or say you get to go to Disneyland. Does that sound stressful? No. But it can be because you've got to wake up early and you got to make sure you get the tram on time and, follow everything. Or what else could be like a positive stress? Can you think of things that might be a positive stress?
Graduation.
Yeah, graduation. That's true. Going to high school or middle school, that might be a positive or negative. Yeah. So there's lots of things that can change in your life that can be positive stresses and also, of course, negative stresses. We always think of the negative stuff because that's where we feel stressed. But even if you don't feel it, things can be happening, in your body, in your mind that you're not thinking about, but it's like, whoa, I have had a lot of changes, Okay, so eustress is what we call positive stress. So here we've got a job, even a roller coaster. Does anybody in here like roller coasters? Yeah, I used to like them until I got old, and now they mess with my ears, and I still like them, but I don't feel the same way. If you're going on a trip or a vacation, there's, sports, and then what about like a movie with a lot of action or, maybe like a scary movie? That can actually cause stress, but you choose to watch it, so. And then there's distress, which is the negative stress. So, if you're going through a sad time, oh my goodness, has anybody broken a bone in here?
Yes.
Yeah, that's stressful. It's really stressful. So one time I broke a bone. I was like coming down this sidewalk and there was like one little step and I fell. And then people are like, oh, what happened? And I was like, I was riding my dirt bike and like I tried to jump this creek and it didn't work. And so they knew I was kidding, but money can, that can be stressful if you're studying too much or, even if you've had a relationship and that doesn't work out. All right, so what do we stress about? What do you see here, or what other things can you think of that you might stress about? Yeah? Do your siblings cause you stress? Yeah. Grades, yeah, absolutely. What your parents are going to say about your grades? Okay. So sometimes it feels like we're like moving through a dark tunnel and it feels like we're lost at first, and it's all dark. I don't know if, we don't have a lot of tunnels around here, but it's like all dark. And then as you get closer to that to the light, it starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so like there's going to be a time where it's going to get better. So we have to like think about what's taking our body into that stressful state. So this is what stress can do to your body. You think it's just like that you feel stressed, but it can make it so you have trouble sleeping. It can make you have changes in behavior. Sometimes it can make you feel upset and irritable. Don't raise your hand, but do you ever have your parent and you're like, what's going on with them today? They're kind of cranky. Yeah, it happens. And then you can get sick more often if you're stressed out because stress is hard on your body. So, you kind of have to do those breathing exercises so you don't get sick. And it's hard to pay attention. What happens when it's hard to pay attention in school? Does that help you do better in school? No. So then it's more stress, right? So it's kind of a cycle. So we want to take care of our mental health, and mental health is a word that sometimes people, don't think of as just every normal day. We take care of our mental health just like we take care of our physical health. If you go out and go on a run, you also have to think of how is my mind doing? How am I dealing with things? Am I coping with things? Do I need more strategies that will help us? So sometimes we choose activities we think will help us to relieve stress, and those things could be like vapes. Vapes we think, help us to not be so stressful. But that's called self-medication. We self-medicate when we're stressed out, and it can cause us to, it causes us to use those things, and then those things, even though we think that it's going to make us feel better, it causes more stress, because then it's like you can get addicted, and then you're thinking like, how you're going to get the substance, and then you got to hide it, and it just causes a whole lot of stuff. So when you consistently deal with anxiety or other mental health issues, stress, a lot of times go to self-medication, and it does not work out. So what kind of stresses would cause people to consider self-medicating? What do y'all think?
Parents' divorce,
Yeah.
a death in the family,
Mm-hmm.
death of a friend.
Yeah. And then why might people turn to e-cigs, cannabis, vapes to cope with those stresses? Why do you think they choose that form? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. It's weed, marijuana. Thank you for asking that. I needed to change the slide, but yeah. So that's, so people go to those things thinking that they're gonna feel better, and I don't know if y'all know, but a lot of, especially young men, I don't know why it affects young men more than it affects young women, but like if you start smoking marijuana young, it can cause psychosis. So it can cause you to like see things that aren't there. So that's not good. So what might make it hard for people to ask for help if they're using these things? Do you think your parents, like, could you go to your parents and be like, hey, I need help getting off these substances? Probably, yeah, that would be scary sometimes. What about your friends? Could you go to your friends? Or do you think that that would cause embarrassment? Maybe. So sometimes it's hard to be like, okay, like I've done this and I don't want to continue doing it, but where do you go, right? Like sometimes you just don't know where to go, how to ask for help. So a lot of people, if they can find that one adult that they feel like they can really trust, that's a good place to go for help. And you may have a parent that, is really just patient and understanding and can help you too. So drug use, stigma, and mental health. A stigma is like a mark of disgrace or shame that's associated with a person or a group of people. So it can cause people to stereotype people and be discriminated against. Have you thought, or can you think of terms that people say, like, what is a stereotype? Like, have you heard the word junkie for someone who uses drugs? Yeah, it's not really a nice term. But those people all started as normal, healthy adults or kids that had just, went to that self-medication and chose the wrong path. So what are some examples of stigmas of people with mental health issues? Can you think of words? What do people think of when they think of people with mental health issues? Yeah.
Psychopath.
Yeah, psychopath. Yeah. Crazy. That one. What else? Anything else? Could you go and just tell somebody that you had a mental health issue? It might be hard because they may think of those things, even though sometimes saying you have a mental health issue is just, I'm stressed right now, or I'm sad, and I've been sad for a few days. And so it's not always something that's huge, it can just be an event that's happening to you because of stress that you're going through, or because of changes in your body. You can get stressed and sad just because you got a lot going on. That's another stressor, is when your body, if you go from being 5 feet tall and then all of a sudden you're 6'4", like that's stressful. I wouldn't know. I'm not that tall. But okay, and then what are some of the negative views society has about people who use vapes? Do you hear anything negative about vapes? Or is it just normal? Is that something you guys see at school all the time? Not really? Some people say they see it like all the time in the bathrooms. You guys don't? Yeah, maybe? Yeah, but people definitely, like, it's kind of all over. Do you hear anything negative about them? Have you ever heard of popcorn lung? So I didn't bring those pictures, but there are people who have vaped like for as little as 2 or 3 years, and they start to get popcorn lung because the flavors that are in the vapes are causing there to be holes in your lungs. And holes in your lungs do not work real well. It doesn't, your lungs are almost like a balloon and they inflate and deflate. And so if you have a hole in those, it's not going to work real well. So, but people as young as 17 are needing lung transplants right now because of vapes. So that's really scary, because I don't know if y'all know where lungs come from when they're a transplant, but they're not real common. You can't buy them at Walmart. Sorry, I shouldn't joke about that. Okay, what if somebody came to you? What if one of your friends came to you and they're like, "Hey, I want to quit vaping. Like, it doesn't make me feel good, and I'm trying to run, and I don't have as much endurance. Like, I can't keep up with my friend, and I want to quit vaping." Would you tell them anything? Yeah.
I'd laugh at them and then help them.
You'd laugh at them first? Yeah. Well, you know what? If you have that relationship, that might be okay. But I'm glad you'd help them. Yeah. And so, some of you probably wouldn't know what to do if somebody came to you and said, "Hey, I want to quit vaping," right? You'd be like, I don't know. But we can help. So, but you can find somebody to help people to do that. So, managing stress. This is the part that's really going to be helpful. So a lot of times, have you guys ever just all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, I feel so stressed and I don't know why"? Yeah? No? Yeah? Yeah, and sometimes you don't know why. You have no idea why you're stressed. And if you can stop and think, and you can be like, "Oh, that's right. I got an F in my math test," or, "Oh, that's right. I've got this big problem that I'm dealing with. Not that you're going to forget it, but there's times where we don't always realize why we're stressed out. And so once you figure out what's stressing you out, it's a little bit easier. Maybe you can't solve it. Maybe you can't make it go away, but you can kind of say, okay, I've got an F in my math class. I hope you don't have an F in math class, but okay, I have an F in math class. Like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You might have to repeat that class, which stinks, right? But at least it's not like a bear's going to come eat you. So we have to kind of put things in perspective sometimes. Is anybody else in here a perfectionist? Do you feel like you always have to do things right? Yeah, me too. And so sometimes what happens is I'm like, oh my goodness, the sky is falling. And I'm like, really, it's not that big. So we have to kind of put our emotions in check. Like when we get freaked out and we're like, okay, you know what? It's all right. Like tomorrow's going to happen. We're going to be okay. So do y'all even know what those are? Do y'all have record players? Have you seen them? Have you heard them? Like the new ones that they have? They're kind of cool. But healthy options for coping with stress. There's some pictures here. You can relax. I have a hard time relaxing. I don't do well with that because I just sit down and think of more stuff. But I like to go walking, and especially when I can go walking and there's trees. That's hard to find around here, but I like trees, I like water. So if I can go walking and it's like pretty out, I like that. Unless there's a lot of birds. I don't like birds like flying over my head. But what else? What about music? Like when you listen to calm music, does it make you have less stress, or would you rather have like upbeat hip hop music or whatever? What kind of music do y'all listen to when you're stressed that helps you feel better? Yeah. Country? Nice. Anybody else? Do y'all listen to opera when you get stressed out? No. I don't either. I think that would make me angry. Does like slow music make anybody angry? No, that's good. Do Christmas songs make anybody angry? Who are those people, right? So, but sometimes I've had classes of people and they're like, yeah, slow songs make me angry. Like I have to listen to my metal, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm not like that. I need something to calm me down. I wonder if it has to do with like how much energy you normally have. Like, if you're a high energy person, maybe you need that calmer, but maybe if you are usually pretty chill, maybe you need something like metal to. I know surgeons that listen to metal, and I'm like, that's crazy, like when they're doing surgery. So anything else you can think of? Lifting weights is on here. That's actually really good for you when you're stressed out, to lift something heavy. There are chemicals within your bones that are released when you lift heavy weight, and it helps you live longer. I just found that out, and I'm amazed by it. Anything else you guys can think of? What else helps when you're stressed? Does anybody like to draw? Yeah. Playing sports, yeah, absolutely. And what's cool about sports too is some sports are kind of by yourself, but a lot of times when you're playing sports, you get to hang out with your friends too. Is that a way that helps relieve stress, when you get to hang out with your friends? Yeah, it's just, there's a lot of different things, but what you have to do is you have to find several different things that you can do when you get stressed out that help you to just kind of chill, because you can't always rely, I can't always go take a walk at 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I could, but that's not smart, so. Okay, so you guys, even as young as you are, you could get burnt out. Has anybody ever felt burnt out? You're like, I just have too much going on. I'm too tired. No? Okay, well, good. But you could still get burnt out. If you're stressing yourself out too much and you're, somebody who's doing a lot and just, not taking care of yourself. So you kind of have to create these healthy boundaries where you're with work and school. And, okay, you guys don't work yet, but set those realistic goals of hey, what can I really accomplish? Do I need to do I need to maybe not stay up until 3 o'clock playing on my games so that I can get up in the morning and go to school? Have you all ever done that and then you're like, oh, that was a bad choice? Like when you're up really late and then you go to school and you're like, oh, that was a bad choice. I've done that. So, but yeah, set realistic goals. Try to, just be gentle with yourself of like, okay, if I'm going to stay up late, maybe I need to do that on a Friday or Saturday so I can sleep a little later. All right, so this is what I was talking about earlier. We want to combine those coping methods so that you always have something that can help you. So, you can't always go play soccer, right? There's times where you can't go outside, like if it's if there's thunderstorms. So then you can go to the beach. I'm just kidding, we can't go to the beach. But you can listen to music. You can have all these different ways that you can cope that you can kind of combine and use when you need to use them. Even the tapping thing, like if you did this in the middle of class, you're going to get made fun of, but you could do that in your bedroom, and that really helps your body to just kind of calm down. And the reason it does is because you're crossing over this center line, and that helps your brain to relax. Okay, so this is another YouTube. Whoa. It's another YouTube that I'm going to explain really quick, but it's just a breathing exercise, and it takes like 2 minutes. But what you do is, actually, I'll let this explain it. This is a good video. I think we can watch this.
We all experience feelings of stress or anxiety. In these moments, you can use your breath to help calm those feelings. Box breathing is a simple relaxation technique that can help you reset your breath and return to its normal rhythm. You can do it anywhere, anytime. Box breathing can help reduce stress and improve mood. It can also help with controlling and managing emotions. It's very easy to learn. Imagine breathing around a box. Inhale as you visualize going up one side of the box, gradually filling your lungs with air. When you reach the top, hold your breath for 1 to 5 seconds as you picture going across the top of the box. Exhale gradually as you imagine traveling down the other side of the box. Pause again for 1 to 5 seconds as you go along the bottom of the box. Then repeat. This can be done 7 to 10 times in a row, focusing on the breath. If you can do it sitting down with your feet grounded, that will help too. But really, it can be done anywhere. Box breathing has physiological and psychological benefits. Physiologically, it regulates breath, increases oxygen to the lungs, and can help reduce blood pressure and lower heart rate. Box breathing can help psychologically by providing focus to your breath and removing attention from the things that are causing feelings of stress and anxiety. The repetition of box breathing can also help reduce stress. So, in moments when feelings of stress and anxiety are overwhelming, remember box breathing and the power of your breath as a simple way to relax and breathe a bit easier.
Okay, so you don't have to tell me because we can't even tell that if you were doing it. But if any of you did that box breathing, I couldn't tell that anybody was doing it. So that's the cool thing about that breathing is like, if you get mad in class, if you get upset in class, you get upset somewhere where you can't really show your emotions, you can use that box breathing, and it really takes you down again to that center point where you're not angry, you're not upset. People use this all the time, like especially people who do martial arts. They use this technique a lot, and it actually helps build your core, so it makes your core stronger, so you balance better, and so you're not, falling over. I do that sometimes. But so if you were box breathing, does anybody want to admit to trying that? Okay, awesome, thank you. And then what was the hardest part of it? Yeah, the pause. The pause is always harder. So that's what I have a hard time with is getting to that 5. But what it does is it slows your breathing, and it just helps your brain to kind of, go to that center point. Okay, so when do you need to call somebody that, that you may, if you're having trouble? It's when, if you're feeling hopeless, if you're feeling like, you can't recover from something, or if you're having thoughts of suicide, you can call 988 at any time. And what's really cool is you can text them. So you can text and just, they don't know who you are, but you can get help that way. So remember that for your friends. Okay, and these are just resources. You got to memorize this real quick. I'm just kidding. But we do have these resources available. There's places that you can call, you can text. If you are vaping and you're like, you know what, this isn't good for me, it's really not making me feel good, you can call these places, and they will help you to find treatments to help you stop vaping. What happens if you get caught with vapes at school? That what? Yeah. Yeah. You don't go to MAP if you get caught? Really? Yeah. Well, they could take you to MAP. And then if it has weed or marijuana in it, then it's real bad. So yeah. So that can be a felony. You guys, most of you can't be charged with felonies, but if you get caught with a vape that has any residue of marijuana in it, it's a felony. So stay away from that. So at the end, we have, we have this light after you're stressed out, and once you get through that stress, and then you could start the wellness process. Isn't that pretty? Don't you wish we had this like down the road?
Yes.
That'd be so nice. Who would jump in? Would you? Yeah. Okay. So some of the key takeaways. Stress is a part of everyone's life. There's healthy ways to cope with stress. So when you get overwhelmed, there's definitely ways to cope with it that don't have to be harmful to you. So a lot of times people will go straight to harmful stuff just because they're trying to escape. And we don't want you to do that, because then your stress just gets worse and worse. So using vapes, it's a very unhealthy way to cope with stress. So it can get you hooked, and that's not good at all. Oh, that's the end of the slideshow. So do y'all have any questions? Any questions at all? You can ask for a friend. No?
Well, let's talk about adult life, not just sports, mijo. That's right, a job. Do you know how hard it is to find a job with a felony? It is very hard. It will never go off your record. That is something you can't take away. That's not something you can just say, let me go pay this off. No. Probation? Yeah, okay. I got 6 months probation. Get deferred adjudication if I do teen court or I do these classes, do my community service. It's all good, right? I'm cool. I'm good, right? I'm done with it, right? No. Felony will always stay on your record. So every choice you make today will affect you for the rest of your life. You have to be able to make that change. By making that choice to say, I'm not going to hold no drugs. I'm not going to hold anybody's vape. Because at the end of the day, who is going to be at fault if they get caught? You, right? Now let me ask you this. Or I'm going to ask if you believe this, actually. From my experience, I don't have any friends that I took a fall for when I was younger. Not one. I still talk to them. I mean, if I see them at the street or in the store or, some type of event or something, but I don't hang out with them. I may have taken the fall for them, but they didn't remember that when I was behind bars. Did they remember that? No. Did they come visit me? Nah. Did they pay for my fines? No. Did they take that felony? No. They didn't. I'm the one that took the fall. And I want y'all to remember that, because a lot of times we think, no, that's my friend. That's my girl. That's my boyfriend. That's my girlfriend. That's my ride or die. You may think that at the moment, but I guarantee that when it falls down to it, at the end of the day, you will take the fall by yourself. Remember that. Because I believe, just as much as Jen believes, that each one of you, you are our next leaders. What does that mean? One of you could be our mayor. Yes, mijo. Yes, that's right, mijo. You could be our next president. And you might think like, psh, not me. Yes, you. Yes, you. Whoever thought Trump could be president? Not Trump. But he took little steps. And now look where he's at. Look at the mayors. Look at the councilmen. Like, you have to, whatever goal you want to achieve, you put your mind to it and you will be successful. Start making those goals and you will achieve them. But keep your eyes focused on that goal. Don't let anybody distract you from that goal that you want. I heard you wanted to be somebody in sports, right? You guys play sports, right? Who wants to be a famous basketball player? Right? You want to be that? Go be that. You can. You can strive to do that. Nobody's stopping you but you. That's it.
Well, thank you all. Thank you for being so polite, and those of you that, that helped answer questions, that's good too. And those of you who did the breathing box exercise, we won't ask names, but use that because it does help. It's important. So anyway, if you have any questions for me, I'll be up here for a minute if you want to ask any questions, or Reyes is back there too. Thank y'all.